right. We are live. So let's bring this meeting to order, and let's start by, at our home, saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And let's also please just take a brief moment of silence for the Portage County residents who've lost their battle with COVID-19 in this past week. Our hearts are with their families and loved ones during this very difficult time for our county and our state. Thank you. All right, let's recess into our solid waste meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of April 30th, 2020.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicki,
Yes.
Rena,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Approve the May 7th, 2020 bills as presented by the county auditor.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicki,
Yes.
Rena,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Motion to approve the May 7th, 2020 journal vouchers as presented by the county auditor.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicki,
Yes.
Rena,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Motion to approve the May 7th, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicki,
Yes.
Rena,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners authorizes the exemption of the annual recycling fees for property located at 11541 and 11567 River Beach Road, Hiram Township, as recommended by Solid Waste Management Director Bill Steiner.
Okay, I will second. Bill, do you want to say anything on this?
Yeah, I drove up to River Beach Road, is right next to the Upper Cuyahoga, right off our State Route 82. And I went up and took pictures, which I normally do if someone asks for their property to be exempted, whether it's a vacant lot. And I believe the pictures are part of my board packet. You can see the first property, no electric service. The foundation is starting to fall in. The second property, the roof is collapsing. So they're both uninhabitable. So it's my recommendation we don't charge them. And actually, when I went up there, I'm going to talk to the Hiram Township trustees about maybe doing that entire road because it was barely wide enough for me to get the district's fusion through there. And talking to the drivers, they had to back down that road. And my concern is it's kind of a dirt gravel type road for winter. So I want to at least talk, there's like maybe 3-4 houses that someone's living in, and see if maybe the two closest to Route 82 still want to recycle because it looked like their carts were being used, and maybe exempt everyone else. It's more of a safety issue for the drivers because it's a back down road off of 82. And you actually, as you're heading east, you come down a hill. And, you know, if I can avoid something further down the road, that's what I'd like to do. But I'm going to reach out to the trustees and discuss it with them first. And if I have to, I'll meet one up there just to walk the road.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Bill. Roll call, Amy?
Vicki,
Yes.
Rena,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to sign the property damage release for truck 3516 that was damaged while collecting recyclables in the Walden sector of Aurora, as recommended by Solid Waste Management Bill Steiner and reviewed by Chris Maduri, Portage County Prosecutor's Office. Bill, you want to comment on that?
Yes, ma'am. This was an incident where a private hauler backed into our truck, and it took us probably the better part of the year to get all the parties together. And the last piece of this puzzle is the sign off. We had to rent a truck for 2 months. And this is covering that rental cost for the truck,
Okay.
which we did get reimbursed for. That's not coming out of district funds. That was part of the insurance settlement.
That's good to know.
Anytime. Yeah. And I've asked, because this was the tailgate on truck 3516. I asked the company that did the work to make sure that the hydraulic cylinders were still true because of the way it was hit. I think I enclosed a picture. My concern was for the left top cylinder to maybe be slightly bent, the ram slightly bent, but they checked it out and it was fine. So that truck's back on the road and almost looks like the day we accepted delivery.
All right.
Okay. I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
I move that the Board of Commissioners authorizes the use of outside counsel on a violation-specific safety requirement, VSSR.
Okay, I received this morning an updated journal entry for this, and I sent it to Amy. So do you have that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I
all
can
right.
read that.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
have that, Vicky, or you want me
I
to go ahead and
couldn't
do that
print it
one?
off.
Okay, let me do this. I'll move that the Board of Commissioners enter a journal entry granting authority to hire outside counsel and enter into an engagement agreement with Fischel, Downey, Albrecht, and Ripenoff. Amount of compensation for legal services not to exceed $5,500. The legal fees expense would come out of the workers' compensation fund applicable to the year in which the claim occurred. The journal entry grants authority to Michelle Crombie, procurement, contract, and risk manager, to sign the engagement letter on behalf of the commissioners.
Second?
I have a question on this. Okay, so I saw Chris had sent us an email on this yesterday, recommending we go to outside counsel. Does anyone know why they wanted us to go to outside counsel for this? Bill, do you know?
I think it was just an agreement among the parties between the district, Michelle and Chris, that this would probably be just a better route to bring in somebody with a little bit more expertise on this particular case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Do you have
it.
any other explanation you want to give on this, Bill?
No, that's pretty much it, Kathleen.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yes, from Vicky.
I seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Okay.
Roll call, Amy?
Kathleen,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina.
Yes.
All right, that's all that we have for solid waste, right, Bill?
That's right. Everyone have a great day. Sabrina, could you do me a favor later today and give me a phone call? I tried to reach you yesterday and you were unavailable.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
great
Bill.
day.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn solid waste.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. All right, let's reconvene our general session and welcome Jean. Thanks for waiting patiently, and we're ready for you.
We have 5 resolutions standard and 1 journal entry standard, but one item we wanted to present, which was the hiring of a position that's been vacant since March 5th of 2020, the Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant Supervisor's position. We received no standard method of getting anybody on board. Nobody from the advertisement applied. So John Leindecker, our chief operations supervisor, went out and started talking to some people he knew and attracted a gentleman by the name of Don Feller. Don lives just outside the county in Alliance area, but he is interested in the job. He has an extensive resume. The one issue, to be 100% transparent, is he has a Class 2 Ohio wastewater treatment plant operator's license, and the position requires a Class 3. Right now, he's in the process of getting that ironed out with Ohio EPA. He does have a Class 4 license, which is the highest in North Carolina, and a Class 3 in Indiana. So he's very well qualified for the job. It's just he's in the process, and it's been delayed primarily because the EPA's been out of the office and they're not really answering those kind of complaints or those kind of questions. So the issue would be hiring him at lesser than what we had hired Chris McCarron, because he does not have the Ohio Class 3. We're recommending a starting rate of $30.08 an hour. And upon obtaining his Class 3 through the Ohio EPA, he would receive $1 an hour increase to take him to $31.08. The $31.08 is right below the midpoint for a pay grade 14, which is $31.44, in keeping with the board's previous desire to want it wherever possible to stay below that. And that would make Mr. Feller coming on board, and when he gets his Class 3, being at the same pay rate as all other supervisors. If you were going to say something, Sabrina?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now he only has the 2 and he's working on the 3. Now, will he be over Class 3 operators though, as the supervisor with only a 2?
Well, technically, yes, but in theory, no, because he reports to a gentleman, John Leindecker, who has a Class 4. So it's still in that lineage, I guess.
Okay.
Gene, do you know the timeline that he will be able to get the 3? I mean, is there a short period of time here or no? You don't know?
I can't guess, only because the state's closed down. When they come back, I don't know where this is going to fit in their priorities.
So obviously there's no reciprocity between states on these licenses, right? I mean,
there is, but it's a review process.
okay.
North Carolina is almost mute because we've had another employee at Streetsboro. Ohio and North Carolina don't communicate, but because he has a Class 3 in Indiana, that's where we think it's just going to sail right on through.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jean, I know that we've, with our hiring, we're pausing certain hires based on what we see as potential budget constraints for us down the road. I assume that you consider that carefully and that this is an essential position that we need filled.
It is an essential position, and it's one of 2 in that section of the operation division. There's also an operator that left for employment elsewhere. So we're down 2 in that section. So at least filling the supervisory position gives us a little more wiggle room and still stay in compliance with EPA regulations in terms of staffing our plants.
So then, Jean, will you be able to hold off then on the operator by filling this until we see where we're at as far as, the impact from the COVID-19 on our finances? Because we're going to be looking at some serious cuts going forward, I believe.
And I'm in agreement with that. I'll say it this way. We would like to fill the position. I'm sure everybody would. But we've already started looking at what happens from 1 to 15% reduction in our revenue. And we're ready to report that when the time's right. But I'm not as concerned because of our mechanism of revenue as compared to other forms of revenue. But I still am conscious of that.
Okay.
Great.
And if you'd like to delay until we do our presentation financially for us, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Now, is there a sheet for us to sign in the HR?
That'll be coming next week if you approve it. We'll go through the official offer.
Okay.
Okay. I think you should move forward with this, Jean. It's an important hire, and it sounds like you've worked out a good system here to get a position filled.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve a request for installment payments for Daniel P. and Julie A. Holliday for connection charges for connections to the sanitary sewage system in the Portage County Regional Sewer District and establishing the terms and the conditions of the same. Jean, I have a question on this. In reading the resolution, I saw this is a 40 quarter installments. And on resolution 4, there was 100 quarter installments. Who makes that decision? How many?
If it's in Oakwood, remember the board approved extending the
Okay,
payback time.
okay,
And
Okay,
it can go either way, and it's an option for the property owner.
okay. Thank you.
so it just gives them more flexibility, because I had the same question on 1 and 4, why there was such a difference in the time frame. So,
And that's
okay.
why, exactly.
Okay,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into a general sewer agreement for sanitary sewer and water main improvements to State Route 59, East Sewer and Water Extensions, Portage County Water Resources Department, project number RV-019-110-P.
Jean, do you have any comments on this one? Is that
That's
where the new children's facility is going in at?
the State Route 59, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's in that, but it's actually going up to the church. That's the agreement that you have before you. The other one's already been approved.
You mean the Haven of Rust?
The Haven,
Or
yes,
not
I'm
the
sorry.
Haven, the Portage Haven. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, that's it. That's what the actual agreement's for.
Okay.
It's got a different name than what we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into a performance bond agreement for sanitary sewer and water improvements to State Route 59 East Sewer and Water Extensions Project, Portage County Water Resources, project number RV-019-110-P. Jean, do you have any comments on this one?
No,
Okay. I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners approves a request from Stephen and Karen Shuri for installment payments of connection charges for connections to the sanitary sewage system in the Portage County Regional Sewer District and establishing the terms and the conditions of the same.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to sign the application and certificate for payment for the final payment of $7,079.90 for Shalersville Water Treatment Plant Chemical Improvements, SH-W 18-010, payment to H. Lulai Construction Company as presented by the Water Resources Department.
Okay. I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. All right. Jean, thank you very much, and we'll see you a little later on in the discussion as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kelly Jo and
Morning,
Sue.
Kelly Jo.
Good
and
morning.
Good
Sue.
morning.
Sharing a cell phone.
Okay.
Hey,
Stay away from each other in the same office.
stay a safe distance from each other, please, and
Scoot
we're
over
glad
a
to
bit,
have
thank
you
you.
both here.
Yeah. I think we're going to start with my memo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you will be getting 3 contracts from Joanne Townend on the back end. I just have been explaining some of the nuances beforehand. So the first one is just a renewal at this time. It's the Portage County Sheriff contract that we have 2 deputies that work in tandem with our child protective workers. The full contract amount is $186,000, $186,172. So anyways, I did put a little bit more information in that paragraph. While we didn't modify this contract, I am going to talk to Captain Lambert in the next couple weeks about maybe modifying the contract for the future 2021. He and I had a phone conversation this week. And then I also talked just briefly to the sheriff. So not exactly sure what that's going to look like. That would again be 2021. There's no changes though to the contract that you'll see and that I've already signed and that will be forwarded to you in the coming weeks.
Hey, Kelly Jo, what
Yes.
warrants you reducing it down to 1.5 employees from 2 for this year?
So information that I'm receiving, and they do excellent work, is sometimes that they go out on calls together. And the administration and the management think that they could do okay with just having the one full-time sheriff to assist in cases. So just kind of a time analysis that they've done. The 1.5 we're looking at, because if we do have one full deputy, if that person were to go on sick leave or have an emergency or vacation, we'd like still somebody from the sheriff to step in.
Yeah.
But the assessment is that they can do well with one worker, one
Okay.
deputy, as opposed to 2. Like I said, that's not definitive. Captain Lampert, I think it's Lampert, I can't pronounce it right. And I are going to talk more about that. I just wanted to broach the topic with you, and it's probably 7 months premature, but I just wanted
Okay.
to.
And I think it's Limbert, I think is who you're,
Limbert?
Yes.
I
yeah.
keep saying it wrong, Limbert. So that's just, I mean, that's a heads up for 2021, but I still want to start talking about it sooner rather than at the last minute.
Okay.
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 And then the next 2 are both family and community service contracts. The first one is the CCMP summer work experience. So we've had summer work experience every year. The state did give us an allocation, $174,000. It came on the heels of the COVID-19 crisis. And so they basically gave counties the options to use those funds with either COVID-19 crisis response and or summer youth. So what I decided was to split it. And we set aside $100,000 for the PRC one-time payment, the $300 payment. And then we have allotted $74,000 for a summer youth program. So we have not seen the applications on PRC that we thought we would see. I think to date, Sue, we've had how many?
I think she said 40 some, but I've only had 19 to pay out.
So 40 applications correlate to about 12,000.
Oh, wow.
So if there's remainder money that we set aside for COVID-19, we can shift that to summer youth. The plan is that Mandy and Family and Community Services have talked about running an 8-week summer employment program. They are slating it for July, but we're still having to watch the stay-at-home orders by the governor. But we still definitely want to give youth an opportunity to work in the summer. So that's that contract. Did you have any questions on that?
Yeah, Kelly Jo, how are you anticipating that employers or where these youth are placed will be impacted by the changes right now in workplace settings and people coming in and out and a need for those positions? Do you think that you'll be able to do all those placements, or what's your
Yes.
sense?
We have a year-round program now with employers for youth, and so they're still available. The reduction has been parents reluctant to allow their youth to work, but we're seeing more parents supportive of that with the right safety measures, masks, and so forth. So we already have the work sites on board with us available. So I don't
Great.
see an issue at all, and I think we do want to try to get more towards a normalcy phase and getting those young people use those monies for themselves, but some of them also use it to support their families. So we still want to make sure that they have that opportunity to work this summer. It also gives them good tools as far as self-sufficiency, work ethic. So we don't want to take that away from kids. It also keeps them out of trouble because they're busy. So Portage County youth really have loved to participate in this program. We want to make sure that we have it again.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay,
you.
sure. And then the last contract is a Help Me Grow contract. The Department of Developmental Disabilities, Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities increased the budget for Help Me Grow. So our portion of that increase is $14,818. Family and Community Services holds that contract, and so we will be transferring those dollars to their budget. And so again, you'll see that to sign off as well.
Great.
Okay.
Okay? If there's no
Thank
other
you for that
questions,
update.
sure, I'll turn it over to Sue.
Thanks, Kelly Jo.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Oh,
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
hi. Okay, so my first transfer is for the match, 34% match for a 4D contract payment that was made in April for domestic court for November services in the amount of $1,100.90.
Move that the transfer from Fund 0001, General Fund, to Fund 1414, Child Support Administration.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, and then the second one is our monthly mandated share that comes from the commissioners for the month of May in the amount of $30,404.48 to the Public Assistance Fund.
Move that the transfer from Fund 0001, General Fund, to Fund 1410, Public Assistance Fund.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. Sue, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Have
day.
a good day.
Sue.
Good morning, Joanne.
Morning.
We're ready for you.
All right. First resolution that I have is a license agreement to use our Coit Road training facility for the Cleveland Clinic Police Department.
Move that we enter into a license agreement between the Portage County Commissioners and the Cleveland Clinic Police Department.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay. Second resolution is entering into an agreement with Battelle Memorial Institute. They are a company who takes our N95 or N95 equivalent respirators and they clean them so that they can be reused for our emergency management agency.
Move that we enter into an agreement for personnel protective equipment decontamination services between the Portage County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Portage County Emergency Management Agency and Battelle Memorial Institute.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, this is an agreement for EMA again for emergency services if we have to disinfect or decontaminate an area. And this is with EnviroServe.
Move that we enter into an agreement for infectious materials emergency response services between the Portage County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Portage County Emergency Management Agency and EnviroServe.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, the next one, number 4, is the same type of agreement. This is with Design Restoration and Reconstruction. They do decontamination of services too. We want to have as many suppliers of this service as we can in case we have to really go crazy and disinfect. So,
Proactive instead of reactive, right, Joanne?
yes, ma'am.
Move that we enter into an agreement for infectious materials emergency response services between the Portage County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Portage County Emergency Management Agency and Design Restoration and Reconstruction, Inc.
I'll second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, number 5 is an intergovernmental agreement with Jaga, Ashtabula, and Portage for NotCog. And this is to add those certain businesses, small businesses that weren't defined originally in the original scope. This is an amendment to get those put in.
Move that we enter into an intergovernmental agreement between Geauga, Ashtabula, and Portage counties and the Northeast Ohio Consortium Council of Governments, NotCog.
I'll second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, number 6 is the results of a public bid that we did for the county engineer on his 405 resurfacing project. And it's to award to the low bidder, Melway Paving Company, in the amount of $934,392.48.
Move to accept and award the bid of Melway Paving Company, Inc. for the 405 resurfacing project for the resurfacing of various Portage County roads.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
And lastly, number 7 is the results of the bids that we also took for the 441 resurfacing project for the county engineer. The low bidder was Carvo Company out of Stowe for a total of $563,336.40.
Move to accept and award the bid of Carvo Companies, Inc. for the 441 resurfacing project for the resurfacing of various Portage County roads.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay. And before I leave, I just have one update for you on the resolution for DD. I have it worded. We got a new resolution from the DD board. I have ours prepared, and we were waiting for some feedback from the sheriff on the exact date he can do this, because they don't really have them every week now, or weekly. And also Chris gave the option of them having it at the site versus at the courthouse. So we're waiting on feedback from that, and the resolution will be ready for you for next week.
Okay.
Great.
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 Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
You're
Have a
welcome,
good rest
guys.
of your day.
You
Have a
do.
good one.
Everyone stay safe.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No one's
All right,
coming.
well,
No one's coming for this one, the Portage County District Library.
no, the library, John is gonna video in briefly. So let's just stand at ease until he calls in. We're running a little early, so
Okay.
you can just wait on him for a few minutes.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Hi, everybody. How are
Good
you?
morning, John.
Morning.
Morning.
Thanks for dialing in. We really appreciate it. And you're early, but we're running early. So
Okay.
we're ready for you if you could just present briefly on your resolution before us today.
Okay, so I am just going to give a caveat right off the bat. We had sent our resolution your way. Originally, it was something that was drafted up by the prosecutor's office. I do know that it kind of went back and forth in between your office and the prosecutor's office in between then and now. So I'm pretty sure that what I've got in front of me is the same thing that you have in front of you, but I'm not entirely sure. Basically what we're looking for is going on the ballot in November. We are looking at a 10-year 1 mil operating levy. In the past, we've usually stuck with 1 mil. It seems a reasonable level that gets us some kind of funding stability locally. In the past, we've gone in between going for one that's 5 and going for one that's 10. At this stage, just to make sure that we can put plans in place that can last, we're opting for 10 in this case. This would be something that would be going on this November's ballot. I'm double checking here on the process. I know that in the past it went to the auditor's office and then to the commissioners for the final go forward. I do believe in the meantime something has changed in between the last time that we gave this a shot, which I think was about 5 years ago, and that it in this case is coming to the coming to the commissioner's office, then to the auditor, and then back to you. So I think this is the first stage at this point. It has yet to go out to the auditor's office. What this would do is give us some measure of funding stability based on local property taxes out here. We got the numbers earlier this week from the state, and we're in a position right now where the state funding that we're getting from this past month is down 34.5%.
Wow.
We can't bring any kind of budget revisions your way until we hear things from Ohio Department of Taxation for our, revising our estimation for the entire year. But the back of the napkin math has us trying to fill about a $475,000 hole.
Wow.
In the 2020 budget. Now that's bad, and it's going to be bad for folks all across the board. There are a lot of libraries out there that are, dealing with this in different ways. I hate to say it, one thing that we have going for us out here is that we're really used to running lean. We have a lot of experience with that, so at least we have that going for us. One thing that's coming into play is that, in our situation and the situation for, I think, 49 of the 251 libraries in Ohio, all the money that we see is that state money. The majority of libraries in Ohio also have a local property tax on the books that's supplanting their income, so that, a cut from the state that's over 30% isn't a straight 30% cut to their budget. That's one of the reasons that we're looking at this, is that it does give us some, stability for current operations, as well as the ability to accurately forecast and put plans in place for growth in the future. So that's what we're looking at in this case.
Okay. I move.
Wow.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
No, I was just going to
Okay.
say thanks for that update, John. And the process, as I understand it, is how you, it's like a 3-step process, and this is the first step. And we appreciate you coming in to talk with us about this.
Absolutely. I think at one point it might have been a two-step. So, this is my first time bringing one of these before you all. So, want to make sure that I cross every I and dot every T.
So you
Thank
did
you.
good, John.
Move to resolution of necessity for placing an additional 1 mil levy for the benefit of the Portage County District Library for current expenses pursuant to section 5705.23 of the Ohio Revised Code.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. All right, John, thank
All right.
you so much, and we'll be seeing you again soon on this. So
I
have a
hope
good
so,
rest
whether
of your
whether in
day.
person or through this. So
That's
you all take
right.
care.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
All right, let's stand at ease briefly while we wait for Todd to call in.
Is someone from NDS coming in, Kathleen?
Yes. Yep. I believe Jim, Stacy, and then Brad Earhart as well.
Okay, good.
And here.
And Todd just sent the memo
Bill
for
run.
the bills. Yeah.
Todd's dialing in.
Is that you, Todd?
Yeah, you guys ready?
Yep.
We're ready for you. And we just got your
I
memo as well.
Yeah. As I said, I just got the information, so I got that to you. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I know last week I kind of commented that we had a light bill run. This one's on the lighter side, but a little bit higher. But otherwise, there's not too much out of the ordinary on here.
Great.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Vicky, do you want to move these?
I don't. I'm missing something here.
Do you have that last page of the agenda?
I don't have that, Kathleen. Wait a minute.
No.
Let's see.
I can go ahead and move them, but do you want to find them, Vicky?
You know what? I don't have it.
Okay. All right. I'll make the motion that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, May 7th, 2020 bills ACH payments as presented by the County Auditor and reviewed by the Board of Commissioners, Department of Budget and Financial Management, Department of Internal Services, or other designee.
Second.
Roll call, Amy?
Sabrina,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
I'll make a motion. The Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, May 7th, 2020 wire transfers for health benefits as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Board of Commissioners, Department of Budget and Financial Management, Department of Internal Services, or other designee.
Second.
Roll call, Amy?
Sabrina,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
I'll make a motion. The Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, May 7th, 2020 journal vouchers as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Board of Commissioners, Department of Budget and Financial Management, Department of Internal Services, or other designee.
Second.
Roll call, Amy?
Sabrina,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
I'll make a motion. The Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, May 7th, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Board of Commissioners, Department of Budget and Financial Management, Department of Internal Services, or other designees.
Second.
Roll call, Amy?
Sabrina,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. You know, Todd, I think we can change the language of these resolution titles since you're doing the review and presenting us the memo, just to have that piece rather than internal services, other designee. Unless there's a week where it's somebody else, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that should be changed to the county administrator. I can still present it to the board, but technically he would be doing the final review, and I forward these to Gene. That would be my other thought.
Yeah, we always have to have another alternative for Todd, so that'd probably be Gene.
Well,
but not in the actual resolution head, because it's referring to an actual resolution that was reviewed by someone.
Right.
So that could change.
Yeah.
Gene could have anyone fill it out for him. So, you know, Joanne could do it if I'm gone and get it to Gene, whatever. That's just another thought.
Yeah, maybe Todd do it for you for now, and then we may make that change, because I know that's one of the things that we're not doing right away with your department, I believe. So
yeah,
it's not a big deal. We can read it all. It just, you know, makes it a little
cumbersome.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
all right.
Hi,
Let's
Jim.
just have Julie change those.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
We are running a little early, which is great, but we'll wait for Brad to join us. Is Stacy getting on as well?
She's going to join by phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So we'll just be at ease here for a moment, waiting
All right.
for everyone to join.
I am here. I'm here.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Hi, Stace.
We are waiting for Brad Earhart, Stacy, and when he gets on, then we'll go ahead and begin. We're running a little early here.
That
Looks
sounds
like he's
good.
dialing in now. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning.
Hi, Brad.
Have you on the line?
Good to see you guys. Good to see you all.
You are last but not least here today. Everybody has joined us. We have Jim with us. Stacy has called in. Jen is here too. And we appreciate the work of NDS, so the Development Board, working with our budget and finance with Todd to find a way to help our local small businesses with their restart in this pandemic situation we are in. And with that, we'd love to hear from you all a little bit more about what this program is going to look like, what input you need from us, and how this is going. So I'm not sure who to kick it over to, but whichever one of you would like to begin, we'd love to hear from you.
I'll let Brad kind of give the overview, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Where we're at right now is, again, we're trying to figure out where we could best focus our limited resources. And many businesses are working with the federal programs, the Paycheck Protection Program, for instance. Large and small businesses are working with their various banks. Some are making it through. There is a percent that is not. We think the big need is going to be coming up here as we speak, next week, for instance. As companies look to restart, for instance, particularly, let's say, small restaurants and gyms, they are going to need a minimum of some working capital to basically get their businesses back up and running. Working with our colleagues at Neighborhood Development Services, which operates our revolving loan funds, and we have a very close and strong collaborative relationship with those guys. We started our conversations with Mike, with Stacy, with Jim and Jen to see what we could possibly do and work with their various revolving loan funds to modify them in a way that could serve this need. We also, by the way, are including the Summit Medina Small Business Development Center and their office based over in Kent, because as these companies are looking for assistance, we're also going to try to incorporate all of our existing resources to help basically to put together their applications to NDS to get into this program. That's basically what we're trying to do. I'm going to turn it over to Jim and NDS to get more into the details of what we're looking to specifically trying to do. Jim?
Okay, so we have carved out some funds with the, hopefully with the county. NDS has some USDA funds of approximately $300,000. And the city of Ravenna, I believe, is going to join in the plan. So between the three, we've got pretty much the whole county, with the exception of Kent, covered. And the idea is to get as much bang for our buck as possible, which is why we limit it to $10,000. We set out some criteria, and hopefully this is something that's going to have to move fairly quickly. We will be underwriting them and looking basically at the last 2 years of financial statements to see that they are a viable company. I've lowered the debt service coverage to 1-to-1 because, frankly, a lot of these places are working on a shoestring. They're viable, but generally you look for 1.2-to-1 coverage, but we're looking at 1-to-1. The loans up to $10,000 doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to get $10,000. Which is why we're asking for a detailed list of what the funds are going to be used for. So if a company needs $4,000, that's what we're going to look at. So that's basically the outline of the plan. We would handle them just like we would any other loan and go through these criteria. And hopefully get these folks up and running again.
Jim, on that number 3, borrower must provide a detailed description of the use of funds. Are there certain uses that we would not approve, or could you give me a little idea what those uses would be?
Well, we're looking at inventory, basic working capital, payroll, operational money.
Now, would this preclude them from the Paycheck Protection Program, or would they work together, or do you know?
If they've gotten the payroll protection program and there's still a small gap, we would still consider them.
Mhm. So Jim, this loan term is going to be for 24 months.
That's generally for working capital. You want a quick turnaround?
Yeah.
I'm guessing there may be a struggle or two out there, but that's generally what you want to look at for working capital. They're getting inventory, they're doing payroll, and you really don't want to take it out a lot further than that.
Yeah.
We did make the provision that we could stretch it out a little bit if we had real estate as collateral.
Okay.
On number 1, when taxes must be current through 3/31/20, is that all taxes like federal, state, payroll? Or is there certain taxes that you're
It, I'm saying all taxes.
okay.
And I'm thinking that we're going to have them sign an affidavit because I don't know how
you
we
would check. Yeah.
Yeah, the property taxes we can do quickly.
Right.
And that's why we put 3/31, plus that's when the problem started. So
yes. Okay.
Jim, can you talk about loan versus grant opportunities that are available to businesses, and whether businesses will be in the position to pay this back in that amount of time? Was consideration given to thinking about a grant instead of a loan, or some of the portion being a grant, or what? Can you talk through your thinking there?
Well, we called Columbus, and these funds cannot be grants. They have to be repaid. CDBG must be repaid. They can't have grants. Now Brad could probably speak to grants that might be available.
Again, the PPP itself is a forgivable loan,
Right.
which it is still a loan. But if you meet the specifications that the federal government has put out for forgiveness, it then turns into a grant. Again, the good news here is that if we can help companies that have proven to be viable and just need that extra oomph to get them through the next few months, to get them back to profitability, and then we can reuse these funds again in the future to help other companies. So, I mean, there's a plus there. We will see what else the federal government gives. At this time, I'm unaware of anything that the state government is working on in the way of grants or anything like that.
Okay. Brad, I know you and I talked about some small business grants/loans that are happening in some other counties. Are those loans as well? Do you know? I know we talked about the Summit County and Stark County programs.
They are, from what I understand, they are indeed grants. In some cases, there were seed money put in by the county, then they were matched by foundations, larger foundations that have the wherewithal to do that. And the pool of those, why they look significant in the beginning, were actually pretty much run out, from what I understand, almost after a couple of days. It was like a PPP program, except at an accelerated pace. When you look at the Portage County, I should say the Portage County census or data of small businesses, there's about like 3,000 that are in at least one database that I've seen that employ between 3 and 20 people. in the county, and just in Portage County alone. With the amount of money, for instance, they put together over in Summit County, they could probably only service, maybe a couple hundred. So even if you have many more eligible businesses, you're going to have some disappointed folks. In this particular case, people are going to go into it knowing this is a loan, and they'll go into it with a different mindset. And I think that's important because, again, we want them to be successful, but then in turn, with the money coming back into these revolving loan funds, we can then help another company down the road. And that's the key thing, I think, is how many companies we can help.
And do you all, with the work that you're doing day in and day out in the community on economic development, think that there is a demand for these kind of micro loan or small loan funds?
I think that a good small business person will see this as an opportunity, and it's at the interest rate that we're offering, it's a pretty decent opportunity. Most microloans, for instance, that I know of that are out there, for instance, the Economic Community Development Institute offers a microloan, and their interest rates currently are about 6.4%, which is a lot higher than we're talking about right here. So, this is a significant. I think it would offer a small business person a significant advantage.
Okay. Jim or Stacy, do you have any additional comments on that?
No, yeah, I mean, we're going to underwrite it to make sure that the ability to repay is there. And it, there's going to be some that are going to struggle. I fully expect that, but we've got to give them a shot to get back up and running again. So we'll underwrite best we can, and aren't going to go into anything with the idea we're gonna have a default, but it'll be tough for them, I'm sure, for some of them.
Jim, what happens if we do have a default? What happens with that debt? Obviously, you can pursue it. I see that you're having them personally guarantee the owners, all the owners, with 20% more ownership.
Right.
Has that been a problem in the past for us? I mean,
but if they file for bankruptcy, it's gone. And at some point, it's not worth paying the legal fees to collect on a $5,000 loan when you got $5,000 in legal fees. So and with the collateral that we're taking, with the exception of if we get real estate, but with inventory, the collateral is going to be thin. But these are the folks that need it most.
Need it. Yeah. Thanks, Jen.
Well, and if I could just add, this is Stacy. So spoke to a couple of really small business owners who, they've applied for the PPP and they've looked at the EIDL, but because the EIDL applications are still being processed, and so they haven't heard on those. And on the PPP, there isn't enough clear guidance yet on what happens if you would have to terminate someone. Would you have to pay all of that back? And so a lot of the smaller business owners are really concerned about that becoming a larger loan on them. And so I think that, I've talked to a couple about these smaller loan programs, and both of them and I spoke to thought that they may go that route.
And Stacy, the PPP, that thing is still very fluid in how they're even handling that, as far as, they only give you a window of 8 weeks to utilize that money. Unlike these loans, I mean, you can utilize them up to, your repayment of the 2 years. But the PPP, a lot of people I've talked to are already starting to return some of the money because they're not going to be able to.
Well, and I think as Jim said, you know, some of these smaller business owners really, they lost all their inventory when this happened.
Yeah.
And so I think that being able to, you know, open your doors and know where the money's coming from to build that inventory back up is going to give some of them a peace of mind.
There's a lot of these, the businesses that don't have a borrowing relationship with the bank were basically out of luck on the PPP.
Yes. Yes.
So that's a group that I think that we're going to see. If they didn't have a borrowing relationship, they couldn't get in the door.
Well, you know, Jim, I have some businesses that have a borrowing relationship, and maybe their lender's not taking any more PPP loan applications or stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of issues. Everyone thinks that PPP is the answer to end all, but it's not for a lot of people.
No, and you know, quite bluntly, the regional and larger banks took care of their bigger customers.
Yes.
Talked to a lot of them that couldn't even get a phone call back after they put their applications in because they just weren't a big client. Now the community banks, I believe, our local banks got all of their customers through, from what I understand.
And Stacy, you brought up about the EIDL loans, you know, the $10,000 that everyone could apply for. I had applied for that, and I just got an email. It was weird, like Sunday night, saying that they were in receipt of my application, but no one else has really heard a lot of feedback on that.
I've spoke to 3 others that received the same email as you've received, and it just says we are promising we're processing numerous applications, and yours will be processed in the order in which it was received.
It's like a real generic email that they sent out, which is weird because, I mean, I applied for the same time I did the PPP, and I got the PPP like within a week. And I never heard anything else from them until just this past Sunday. I think they sent out an email.
Yeah, you're right, because I got it forwarded to me and it was very generic.
And I know with the PPP loan process, a lot of banks are very confused. They pushed them to get these applications to fund, and then now the government's sort of retracting on the people that actually applied. Like I received a letter from my bank saying that anyone that received 2 million or more, that they're subject to audit. Are you guys aware of that? And then before it was anyone could apply that was impacted. Well, we're all impacted to some degree, but now they're saying they're trying to retract that to say that you actually need to show that you had a financial hardship. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything on that, but I just got a letter from S&T on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, pertaining to that.
We've heard bits and pieces. I haven't seen anything actually in writing yet, but I think that there will be more forthcoming. They rolled this out so quickly, and as programs in the past, when they do that, all of the compliance usually comes after.
Yeah,
I think the first round was like, oops, we better close that gap, and so they're backtracking a little bit.
Yeah.
Back to this program, what is the thought on getting the word out, rolling this out? What's the plan to announce this and make sure people know about it and are aware and can access the funds?
I'd like to add to that. Also, how long are we looking, do we think that the process would take to get the funds once you actually applied? I mean, I know it. Go ahead.
We have to go through the state. We're going to work with them to see if we can streamline it, because that can take a little bit longer. We're gonna work to see if we can streamline the access to the funds. So as far as the length, the USDA, I believe, set a October date, which I think that we can ask them to extend that if need be. It really depends on, I mean, the virus is going to dictate to us what the terms are going to be and how long this thing's going to drag out and so forth. So I don't know that we need an end date right now.
Okay.
So we're not ready yet to make these funds available, Jim. We're still waiting on approval from the state.
The state has said we can do it. We're going to just kind of
Streamline
process. Yeah. The funds that we at NDS have, we can make available pretty quickly. So if there's anything that's dire need while we're working with the state, we can pretty much take care of those. The only gap in the NDS funds is they've taken the western part of the county off of their eligibility map. So Aurora, Streetsboro, Kent, and believe it or not, Brimfield are considered part of larger cities, and we can't use those funds there. So that's really where we need the county funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. What we'll be doing from my perspective, report, I mean, from the development board, we will push this out to our partners, the chambers, the local ED folks. This is why the CDBG funds were important, so we can expand it into the rest of the county, into Aurora, into Streetsboro, into Brimfield, Suffield, to make sure that we could cover all of the county. And we'll market it. We will let our banking partners know. We will put that out in our e-blast. We'll get the information out.
Starting right away.
As soon as we get the green light
From the state, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll wait till I get the green light from Jim and Stacy.
Okay, great. And the point of contact for applying is NDS.
Correct.
Right. Either Jen or myself.
Okay, great. Well, we are supportive as a board. We moved last week to authorize our piece of the funding. So we will just wait to hear from you, NDS, and Brad, and I'm sure Todd will let us know when this is live. And we'll do our best to help amplify to the small businesses that, you know, the commissioners interact with, and get the word out to the community as well.
One last thing. Normally we would for larger CDBG loans, we would bring them individually into the board for presentation. What we think might work, if it's okay with you, is we set out the criteria, and if they meet the criteria, we move forward and get sign off from the commissioners on each one. But instead of presenting each loan individually, there could be 70 to 100 loans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do individual presentations. I think that makes sense, Jim, what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Time is of essence, especially for a lot of these people. So that's our version of streamline.
Yeah. Well, and so the 140 some that you approved already, that could start as soon as possible. So we can get moving on that. There is 160,000 in the housing funds that's possible, but that would require an approved waiver from the state.
Yeah.
So that depends on what you guys want to do. If you want to do the 160 that's in the housing, that cannot start right away. We would have to get, work with you to get the approved waiver from the state.
I think, Stacy, we decided that we would start with the 140 and see the need, and then I think apply for the waiver if it was necessary for the housing funds, if I recall Like,
Understood. Then we can get started right away on what you've already approved.
Okay.
Well, and I think we want to apply for the waiver. We just don't have to move the money if we don't
Right.
need it.
Right.
Okay.
Good idea.
Perfect. We'll get started assisting if you need it. And if you don't need it, just let us know.
Okay.
Todd,
Great.
are you the one that applies for that waiver? Who applies for the waiver?
NDS fills that out. They
And-
need a journal entry from you, which we did, but NDS
Okay.
fills that out. and submits it to the state.
Okay.
Okay.
We will take care of it right away.
All
Great.
right.
Does anyone have anything else that they want to add?
Nope. I just think this is a great idea and glad we could try to help some of these folks.
Well, thank you very much to Brad and your board and NDS. We appreciate what you're doing and look forward to seeing how this plays out and to helping the businesses in our community that are struggling through this crisis to get restarted. So thank you very much. And everybody, sure we'll all be in touch. Stay safe and take care.
Okay.
You
Have
are
a great
most
day.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
This is Todd. I do have one other question to ask the board.
Sure.
Did Todd Peets get a chance to talk to you about next week's CDBG meeting?
No, not to me.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to get to you guys or not. We talked Monday about the CDBG grant process. Our understanding, this new committee was made, and your preference was that committee make recommendations along with all the projects that were submitted. The question is whether you want presentations from every one of those projects, whether you only want presentations from ones that we recommend, or whether you don't want any presentations at all and you'd rather have something after the fact of what was accomplished with the money, with the understanding that the committee is vetting based on certain criteria to make their recommendation. We just need to know for next week in terms of who we're supposed to schedule.
And when would the scheduling be, Todd?
So the 14th, you have time for CDBG. The question is whether you just want to hear from the committee itself, which the committee is NDS, RPC. They're working together to consolidate these grant applications. Whether you just want to hear them present the projects and what they recommended, why, and then you'll have opportunity to ask them regarding, or whether you would like the individual applicants to come out and make their presentations and then let NDS and RPC explain their recommendations.
Could we have the committee present in lieu of broader presentations? And then if we feel that we needed additional presentations, we could schedule that maybe the next week if needed? Or would that not fit in a timeline?
And we'll leave we'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether you want to hear from anyone or not. You know, it's just in the past, we've had some people who didn't get funding. They then rush in and want to talk to the board. And that's part of why this committee was formed, so that we don't have individuals coming to the board or organized.
Because it makes it
So
awkward.
I'll let them know.
Yeah.
I'll let them know that they just want to hear, that you want to hear from them, meaning RPC and NDS, their opinions. And they're, like I said, they've worked with these project applicants, so they know the projects fairly well. You're welcome to ask them questions. And then if something should come up that you'd like to hear more, obviously we can schedule that. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay, are we ready for the miscellaneous items?
Yes.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners approves the April 30th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners accepts the donations to the Office Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency for COVID-19 response.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the April 28th, 2020 certificate of the county auditor, that the total appropriations both from each fund do not exceed the official estimate. Is that what you were reading, Sabrina?
No.
Page, okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't doubling up here. That the total appropriations from each fund do not exceed the official estimate resources for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020, as presented by the Portage County Auditor's Office.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners receive the April 28, 2020 amended certificate of estimated resources for the year beginning January 1, 2020, as submitted by the Portage County Budget Commission.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, Section 325.07, the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the monthly record of proceedings and transactions for March 2020, as presented by the Portage County Sheriff's Department.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
And we have two more resolutions to approve that Janet Kovacs sent. Did you guys get those?
Yes. And also Kathleen's got an add-on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if we wanted to do the resolutions for Janet.
Yes.
Yes, we
Move
should
to
do
approve the
those.
extension of Resolution 20-0228, the temporary emergency leave for Public Works personnel, emergency management personnel under the Board of Commissioners appointing authority.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move to approve the extension of the temporary public health emergency leave addendum adopted on April 2nd, 2020.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Move that a
All right.
resolution. Well, move that a resolution authorizing the county administrator to exercise powers delegated hereby under RC 305.30 A, B, C, D, E, F, and K.
All
I think
right.
we were going to have discussions on these today. Is that correct? Or did I
Yeah,
miss-
let's move to this discussion of the next phase of the resolution authorizing powers delegated under the Ohio Revised Code. We can have the discussion today and move the resolution. We can hold on the resolution depending on what the desire is of the commissioners. We just wanted to make sure we had this before the board for discussion. Included with the resolution was a explanation page reviewing and trying to succinctly state the sections of the resolution and how they correspond to the job description, the job posting, and then the specific Ohio Revised Code section. And then additionally, Janet Kovacs put together a document for us just with that description, the statute, and the posting again, just so we would have that handy to refer to if needed. So
Do you want each of these read, Kathleen, like A, B? I mean,
no, I think that what would make sense is a discussion of the board of these powers that are laid out and duties, and they're laid out exactly by the code section. And one thing that we have done is there are specific code sections dealing with contracting and purchasing and HR. And we have left those out for now for a future resolution, I think in the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, to give Jean time to work with those departments, to have those conversations with Joanne about purchasing and contracting and how best to work with her department on authorizing those powers, and the same for the human resources and HR, and giving Jean the opportunity to have dialogue with that department and figure out how best to work together and handle those pieces. So those are left out. That will come. But in the meantime, here are the other parts of the code and how those duties will be assigned and delegated. So is there any questions or?
Yeah, let's start with A, under the revised code. It states here regarding the directors, but what about the commissioner staff? Because it doesn't reference the commissioner staff. Are they still going to report to us directly, or will they also be under Jean? Because there's not a director for them. It's the board.
What do you suggest, Sabrina?
I don't really have a suggestion. I just want to know, is Jean expected? Because I've had the staff ask me, are they reporting directly to Jean now, or do they still report to the Board of Commissioners? And according to the statute, they're not really covered because it just says the directors.
Right. So it's up to us to decide.
Yeah.
That is just what I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. I would think that it would be easier. I think it is difficult for our staff to report to 3 of us, and it would make sense to have them report to Jean, and that's an easy, I think, addition to the resolution, but you're certainly open to the thoughts of the board and Jean, you as well.
Well, and I guess that brings to the next question is Jean going to have a presence in our building? Because if that's the case, then I would think that he would need to also have a presence in our building in order to be able to help the commissioner staff. I mean, I don't know if we're going to have him, since it's only supplemental at this point in time, I'm assuming he'd be out at Water Resources the majority, but he'd have to have some presence here, I would assume, with the commissioner staff, especially because we're not always in. So that's what I'm wondering, what has been thought about regarding the commissioner staff.
Well, again, this is a discussion that we're having, and the good news is there's plenty of offices available on the
we've got room
on the 7th floor.
And Jean, how do you see that?
Well, from where I came from the city, there was a great balance act in essence, because the clerk worked for the council, as did the city manager. So there was a balance there. But then it was well organized, I guess. And getting us organized, I don't see that they need to be under the administrator and they should report to you. But in essence, everybody reports to you anyway. But I'd like to work on getting things organized for their sake, for our sake, and for your sake predominantly. Some of those things that Joanne started a process when we had external service and internal services, and the meetings became streamlined in essence. How do we do that? Talking with Joanne prior to appointment, one of her concerns, and rightly so, is a lot of times we lose process. And because of my background as an engineer, I'm really good at process. So I would put in place things that would help with that process and document almost down to, if you're having a contract, you need to do this, this, and this, and you're good to go. If not, contact Joanne Townend. Those are the kind of things that make her job easier and everybody else's along with it. But in terms of the actual employees that are directly reported to you, the clerk and her staff, I'm not sure how that's arranged in your org chart, but having some discussion with them, but having them equally report to you is a good thing. The one thing I would avoid at all costs is having two bosses. That's not good, you know, from a standpoint. If I'm them, where's my allegiance fall? It should fall to you folks.
So you think keep it the way it is right now, Jean? So the way the resolution is drafted, it does not include them, and you suggest keeping that for now?
That's the way I would keep it, unless we find reason to change it. And then it would fall under K, which is the catch-all, anything else assigned.
Yeah.
With those process improvements that you're talking about.
I don't see them resisting it, but any change that would have to come with agreement from the Board of Commissioners. Here's what we're doing, here's what we'd like to do. Those are good process control things, yes.
And to me, it makes sense versus, like you said, having two bosses. I mean, it'll just add more confusion to them, I believe. If they still report directly to us, because they're the ones we call in, we give directives to. And because they are not included in Section A, like I said, I would think that they would be excluded, at least at this point. And if we see down the road, it needs to change, I think that would be a good time to address it.
Well, just the fact that you say to your direct reports, including myself, look, we need you to work with Jean. That's all it takes. We're going to come to the same result. I personally think it's a good idea to have two reports, but never lose sight of the fact from what was said. It's true. They've got three bosses right now.
Yeah.
Three commissioners. So if it works better for them. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. If A, B, and C tell us three different things, what do we do? Well, it would be nice to go back to one person that says, hang tight, get it resolved. And maybe that's part of it. But in terms of day-to-day operations, if you need a problem with a dog, you're not going to call Amy to contact, you go right to the source of the issues.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
So to recap, Jean, where do you see the commissioner staff, just so that we clarify, we're clear?
No change right now. I would, unless we find cause in the future, no change right now.
Okay.
Just for my own clarification, who is your direct reports? Amy?
They all are right now.
Right. When you said Amy, the clerk and the staff, she doesn't really have a staff. That's been asked.
No, that's like,
she does not have a staff.
But that includes Amy, like Judy and Julie.
Right.
Those are all under the umbrella of the Board of Commissioners staff.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions about this?
No, that's the only one I had regarding that was the commissioner staff, because they're not really necessarily included in and then also if Gene was going to be it would be, I think, important that he have a presence at the admin building at some point in time in order to address their issues. But if we're going to leave it like that, then that's fine.
My preference is to have a presence at the admin building.
Yeah.
It's just easier for one person, me, to go and talk to at a somewhat private location somewhere. I don't care where it's at.
Yeah.
But having that ability so that all the directors reporting there day in and day out don't have to drive all the way out here. It just makes
exactly. And like I said,
Yeah,
we
Gina-
have plenty of offices. We have the office that Deb Masnick, who was like the quote unquote county administrator, but I think we called her county executor or something. And it's the office right behind Amy.
And then there's the offices out front too, or not out front, but
Oh, yeah.
opposite where our offices are. So there's options.
Yeah.
whatever the pleasure of the board is, but I would definitely see benefit in being there for some hours, preferably at set hours a week so everybody knows. when that's-
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Jean, and you can just, as you know, keep us updated as, you know, that's fine. We approve of that happening, and I think it's something you should try to get going in the next several weeks.
In your spare time, Jean.
Are there additional things like that that you need some guidance from us on?
Simple things like business cards. Do you have a preference? I mean, one card's fine with me, but I don't know, maybe you want a single card that says county administrator for meetings that are more unrelated to water resources. That's strictly up to you.
I think that's a good idea.
And then the other one was, if you remember, when we had external services, we set a specific place on the server where everybody exchanged information and it worked extremely well. I would like to recreate that again. So being able to go and talk to Lloyd with agreement from the board that we're going to create these directory structures and provide some private areas. If HR wants to talk about one specific issue, it doesn't get broadcast to all directors, but then information that would be pertinent to all directors would be able to be communicated. Kind of a housing for everything, but that worked extremely well and was used by all the directors when we had structure. So.
Yeah, I would be in agreement that you could talk to Lloyd about that, definitely.
Yeah, I would as well. That sounds like a good idea.
You know, I think we have to remember that this is a new position and we're kind of just feeling our way through. We have to allow for a lot of flexibility. You know, we see what works, what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, it's supplemental. I mean, Jean also runs one of our largest divisions, which is the water resources. And so, you know, I understand what the statute states, but I think you're right. It has to evolve as we go along. And then C, where it says county administrator will attend all the regular scheduled meetings and stuff. Now, Jean, at this point in time, will you be coming and representing eventually for all the directors to the point that they will no longer come in and report? You will report for all of them. How do you, or do you see them coming in as well with you? I mean, how do you see that going forward?
I go back to when I think you took a lead on this, Sabrina, when you wanted to start quarterly seeing the directors that were part of external service. That didn't erode anything. It was fine. It was more about like an update. But I think there are a whole host of standard resolutions that go forward almost by autopilot. There's no
Yeah.
reason to tie up everybody's time, but equally, I think my perception is it's important for the county administrator to attend the standard every week board meeting. From the standpoint, there are a lot of issues discussed from beginning to end, and
Yeah.
knowing what those discussions are, when it's written on paper, you don't always get the tone of the meeting. So I think it's important to be at those, but other meetings are, other than that, standard Thursday morning meetings or Tuesday meetings. The rest of the meetings are at your pleasure. What you think provide value for the county or for myself or for you to be present, like a hearing. We never got off the ground with Fairlane Water Company because of COVID-19. I would be there because of water resources, but if it wasn't a water resource issue, is there benefit for the county administrator to hear what's being said? And I think that's the benchmark by which an invitation to non-standard meetings would be.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. And I think for a number of our outside meetings, I know we talked a little bit about this, Jean, but like, we want you to come to AMATs or regional planning? And I think no, for those type of meetings. But I think what you're saying, those special cases that are coming out of our own
public hearings and
authority stuff. And are part of our board process. That makes sense. I mean, maybe once in a while, one of those outside meetings for a specific reason, it may make sense, but typically, I think it would be just our board meetings and those special type of meetings that we're talking about. I think that makes sense.
Sounds good.
Kathleen, if there's no more concerns or questions, are we ready to pass this resolution, or do you still want to wait till next week?
I'm comfortable passing it. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'm just finishing, if you could pause for a moment. I'm just finishing reviewing these, see if I have any other questions.
Sure.
And I don't. I mean, they're
Are you
pretty
comfortable
self-serving.
passing it today, Sabrina?
Yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah,
wait?
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I got my questions answered because those have been some things that have been brought up to me was about the commissioner staff because they weren't really included. And then we talked about Gene having a presence and he's, going to look at set hours and stuff. So no, those are the only questions I had.
Great.
Okay.
Well, I think, Vicki, you made a motion. I'm happy to second the motion.
Okay.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Sabrina.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Good discussion. I think there's no further business to come before the board. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. All right.
Sabrina,
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Sabrina, could you give me a call about the project on 59?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
You too.
Bye.